So today I'm reviewing another book. This is the second entry into C.S. Lewis's space trilogy. This is Perelandra. You can take a good look at it here. And it says second book, the celebrated space trilogy, which begins in Out of the Silent Planet, and is concluded in That Hideous Strength. I'm dyslexic today. The copyright says 1944. The Macmillan Company, 866 3rd Avenue, New York, New York, 122. So it's the 12th printing. So this specific print comes from 1972. So this book deals a lot in archetypes in a similar way to Out of the Silent Planet. But Perelandra transforms that idea. Where Out of the Silent Planet just touched on some of these subjects and concepts, Perelandra really digs very, very deep. There are a lot of religious comparisons in this. There's a lot of religious imagery. And religious imagery and comparisons to the Garden of Eden specifically. Ransom goes to Venus and he encounters this lady who he calls the Green Lady, and she is kind of like Eve, the archetype of Eve. Weston is an evil person, represents evil and humanity's, basically their capacity for evil, our capacity for evil. Now this book is over 200 pages long, so it's longer than Out of the Silent Planet. It's more substantive than Out of the Silent Planet, I would say. Not that Out of the Silent Planet doesn't have any substance. It does. This one specifically delves into arguments and concepts, and very esoteric arguments and concepts. It's similar in many ways to Avatar. I mentioned that in my other review. This whole space trilogy really characterizes the way humans view religion and religiosity, how that relates to science, and how our exploration can lead us to potential evil. And there is a specific moment in this book where Weston and Ransom are at odds, and Weston is, not to spoil anything, but he's sort of taken over by an evil force. That's as far as I'll go, but he becomes what I would call ideologically possessed, to borrow a little bit from Jordan Peterson. So in concept, this story is really something that could possibly fail if executed by the wrong individual. But C.S. Lewis approaches almost all of his work from the unique perspective of a former atheist. So he has a beautifully unique perspective on not only the theistic versus atheistic argument, the people who deny the existence of God or don't wish to acknowledge it or believe that in humanistic principles, versus obviously people who believe the biblical narrative. But C.S. Lewis finds this grand, beautiful way of mixing science fiction with religious symbolism and with religious archetypes and characters. You can immerse yourself in this book. It may be a little bit too arcane and esoteric for some readers, but push through. I promise you it's worth it. how many chapters to this book. 1, 2, 11. 17 chapters. 17 chapters and 222 pages. It's not a long book. I've read this over a period of time. I may read it again at some point in my life. I'm almost certain I will, because it's difficult to grasp all the meaning from it in the first reading. So I would say that you should read this book. It is beautiful. It's a wonderful book. You can see just by the cover art how interesting and symbolic a concept this is. But I've droned on and about it long enough. Pick up a copy sometime and read it for yourself. I think it's a worthwhile read, and I think that if you're someone who's into philosophy and science fiction, and if you like C.S. Lewis's other works, like the other parts of the Space Trilogy, Screwtape Letters, Chronicles of Narnia, this is slightly more adult oriented and definitely not on a child's reading level by any stretch of the imagination. So this is more of an adult book, not adult as in erotica or anything, but it's a very dense philosophical science fiction study. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below if you got something to say. Leave a like, please. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more movie reviews or book reviews. I do a lot of video essays too. Check those out. I appreciate it.